We're just getting settled. So if it's all right with everybody, I think.
Musical chairs?
Yeah, the glare.
Yes. The glare.
From the windows. Oh,
I get to sit next to Lori now. Yeah. All right. So I think we are, and this is my first time using this system. So if you guys can't hear us, wave, text me, whatever you need to do. I might not know that it stops working. So I think we're just waiting on Melinda, but I think we should get going and we're recording. So I'm going to try to facilitate in the way that I normally do. Please let me know if I forget something. So I'll start us off by saying that this is July 21st of 2021, and this is the Live Well Kingston Commission meeting. I'm Emily Flynn. I'm the Director of Health and Wellness for the City of Kingston, and we're recording this and in person. But of the commissioners that are on Zoom, Susanna is the one who has put her address, so her vote will be recorded today. And in a moment, I'll calculate if we have quorum. Now I'm going to have us go around and do introductions. I'm going to have the people here in person go first to test out our mics. Anna, why don't you go next?
Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. I'm Anna Brett, and I'm on the Live Well Kingston Commission. I've been one of the original members, been on since the very beginning, and I'm a retired educator from Kingston City Schools.
I am Lori Ferguson, and I am a nutritionist and a nurse, and I volunteer at People's Place in two aspects, in the cafe and in the food pantry.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Stacy Kraft at the Department of Health and a founding member of Live Well Kingston as well.
All right, that seemed to go well. Troy Ellen, will you introduce yourself and then pass on to someone on Zoom and then go around the circle if you guys don't mind?
Absolutely. I'm Troy Ellen Dixon, Kingston community member, consultant with Radio Kingston, Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative, a lot of other stuff. I'm also the chair of the Live Well Commission. And I hope this first meeting, public, hybrid, whatever, works well. And I will pass to Siobhan.
Thank you, Troy Ellen. Hi, everyone. My name is Siobhan. My pronouns are she, her. I am a commissioner with the Live Well Kingston Commission, and I started earlier at the very beginning of this year, something like that. I'm also the outreach. Oh, I'm technically the secretary too. I haven't taken a note yet, but we'll get there. And I'm also the outreach coordinator for the Kingston Food Co-op. And I own a small business called the Little Garden of Eden. And I will pass it to Heidi. No, Heidi's driving. I'll pass it to Malia.
Thanks, Siobhan. Hi, everyone. Malia Dumont, resident of the Ron neighborhood. Commissioner on Live Well Kingston Commission. I work at Bard College. And I will pass it to, looking at the list on the right, Douglas.
Okay, thank you. I'm Doug Coop. I'm an alderman on the Common Council of the City of Kingston, representing Ward 2, which is the Uptown area. And I am the liaison to this committee from the Common Council. And I'll pass this over to you, James.
Hello, everybody. My name is James Camerata. I am working with Live Well Kingston as their summer communications intern. I'm a senior at SUNY New Paltz. I study PR is my major, and I also study business and sociology. Those are my two minors. I'm going to pass this to Susie.
Hi, everyone. This is my first official meeting. So thank you. I'm Susie Jimenez with Adelante Student Voices. we work around helping undocumented students kind of access towards higher education. And then also outreach coordinator with Citizens for Local Power, who's working currently more with utility justice and canceling that Central Hudson debt. And I will, I'm also, I guess, the commissioner, new commissioner. So, and I will pass it over to, is it Susanna? Susan? Yeah.
Yep. Hi.
My name, buddy.
Callahan with the Institute for Family Health. Yeah, and I'm a commissioner. Heidi, if you can speak from the car.
I am Heidi. I don't know if I'm going to be pixelating or not. I'm kind of going in and out of dead right now. But
Yeah, we can't hear you, Heidi.
My pronouns are she and her.
All right, it sounds like she's got a little bit broken up there.
I'm also with the YMCA of Kingston and Ulster County. And
All right, thank you, Heidi. We're having trouble. You were breaking up a little bit.
about it. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Heidi. Sorry to break you up there, but you were breaking up. We were having trouble. Melinda has joined us. Melinda, if you want to introduce yourself, you press the button to
Melinda Herzog, Healthy Communities Program Leader at Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Emily just went to get another microphone, so we'll give her a minute. She'll be right back.
Okay, hi, everybody. So we do have quorum now, so this is great. So then we'll move along with our agenda. Next up, we'll have the approval of the June meeting minutes. Did anyone have any edits to that, or would anyone like to make a motion to discuss or to make edits for the June meeting minutes?
I make a motion to accept the June meeting minutes as prepared.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Can Siobhan second? Since she's not a part of the quorum?
I'm not.
Yeah, so Siobhan, you're technically not a member of the quorum. I can explain it more. I know, sad face. So not to jump right into it, but so it's part of the meeting law stuff that we'll talk about in a minute. So why don't I try to get either Susanna? Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Susanna.
Am I seconding or am I making a motion?
You're seconding.
Okay, I second.
Then I'll call for the vote, and the way we should do this, I think, is so everyone on Zoom, if you could give me a thumbs up or an icon thumbs up, and here in person, if you guys could say aye, that I think will be good. And mostly it'll be, I think, if anyone has any abstentions or is against, that's what I'll document more. Okay, so I'm gonna call for, okay, try.
I have a question again, sorry. We can vote even though we're not part of the quorum?
Oh, you're so good at that. Thank you. Yeah, I think you cannot. Right, I think you can't vote. Okay, so Susanna, you can vote and everyone here can vote. Thank you, Tryon. So I'm going to call for a vote. People here say aye, and Susanna, give me a thumbs up. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Emily, can you explain the quorum
Yeah.
thing? I thought quorum was like minimum amount of people who have to be there to meet or something like that.
Exactly. So the quorum, we have 10 members of the commission right now. So I have 4 members in person here, and Susanna listed her address on the agenda, which allowed her to technically be in attendance. So I don't know all the details here, but I'll try to explain it. So my understanding of it is that there's a New York State open meetings law that says that all public meetings have to be in person. And if a commissioner or alderperson is not able to be in person, they have to list the address that they're calling in from in order for that to technically be a public space. And technically, I think the public can be allowed at that address. In fact, we have Doug here, who is an alderman. And maybe, Doug, do you know more about that? Can you speak to it? You're muted. You're muted, Doug. Doug, we can't hear you. You're muted.
No. The answer to your question is no,
Okay,
but I think what you're saying is correct.
thanks. Okay, cool. That's my understanding of the rules. My hope is that next month, maybe we'll have a little bit more of this sorted out. Maybe more of us can meet in person and we won't have this hybrid. But I don't know what the other commissioners are doing, but I understand that the Common Council has not done this hybrid option, has not made it an option. So we might be kind of pioneering this right now to see if it works. So commissioners, I think that some of you would prefer to always have the Zoom option. So that's something we might want to talk about if we want to do this hybrid version going forward. We can talk about that now if we'd like. Would anyone like to discuss that further?
Well, we're early in the meeting, but I think it's working amazingly well. I'm very comfortable with this hybrid setup, and there are times when it's difficult for me and probably others to be there at this time in the afternoon because of our day jobs. And you know, I think we're communicating very well. So I have no problem with continuing on this basis. Although you're right, the Common Council has gone exclusively to City Hall meetings. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, Troyan, go ahead.
My concern is that if we are unable to vote, if we're not there or don't give an address where technically people could show up. And is the Corporation Council, have they done the interpretation of this?
I don't know.
So yeah, so I heard the mayor's the one who told me most recently about the address on the agenda. I haven't talked to Corporation Council. We can, if you would like, I can go to Corporation Council and get clarification. I'm happy to do that. And I believe that there is a New York State agency that can, what's the word, help you with the public meeting laws. And if need be, we could reach out to them for support.
I think it's worthwhile exploring. I mean, one of I don't have a problem trying to get to a public meeting. I'm just in principle not understanding if commissioners are in a public space, the public can come to that space for the meeting and then either watch the meeting via Zoom from the comfort of their own home or participate and watch the meeting and in the Common Council chambers. So to me, it's just a disconnect in the logic.
Yeah, I agree with, I support the idea of exploring what's possible legally. We can talk till we're blue in the face about what we would like to happen, but since clearly there's some very specific laws on the books that seem to be it's understandable. They haven't been updated to take COVID into account. But maybe this is a good prompting for that kind of exploration.
Susanna, I want Laura to go next.
Oh, sorry.
Before the pandemic, were we actually Zooming for people in the public to come? I don't think so. So they just had a problem in New York State with a vote because of the same situation, and they had to shut the meeting down. I don't remember what the meeting was, but it was about a week and a half ago. And so they couldn't go forward with their meeting. So it's just not the mayor, it's a New York State thing that I'm understanding.
And I can clarify that before COVID, this meeting, we had a conference call system, and sometimes people would conference call in. And I think that I didn't know that people had to list their addresses in order for it to count, and I never did. I'm putting this out on a public recording. But now we know, and now if, you know, so my understanding is that that was a mistake, that how we did it previously. Susanna, did you have your hand up before?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, I think, echo sort of what other people are saying, that in COVID land now, it seems that having a hybrid option so that people, whether they're in this case commissioners or the public, could participate either remotely or in person, in terms of, you know, just opening up access for the public, because I know there are people who don't know how to use Zoom and can't attend virtually and want city offices and meetings to happen in person, and other people feel safer and whatever other reasons they have for not coming into offices and meetings. So I think again, I have no idea what the legal recourse is here to change the rules, but it'd be great.
Also in support of climate, reduce traveling.
Any other, I want to hold space for anyone who hasn't had a chance to talk yet. All right, great. So I'll go forward and reach out to Corporation Counsel and try to get some more clarification, and I'll bring that back next month. And any other thoughts on that at this time? Any other to-dos or next steps? So as I'm facilitating here, I now have like 2 places that I'm looking for feedback. So I'm like, that's even more time in between my facilitation. So bear with me there. All right. Unless anyone has anything else to say on that topic, we can go back and go to our presentations on our agenda. Last chance for anything else to say. All right. Okay, so going on the agenda, next up, we had an Age Well Focus Team presentation. And for those on Zoom, I'm not going to be able to paste the link to the document, but if you go to the agenda, there's a link to it there. And for the people here, I've got a printout if you'd like to follow along. I'm going to use this to kind of talk about what's going on in Age Well right now. Any questions before I continue on? I don't see anything. Okay. All right. So the Age Well Focus Team meets very regularly. It's every third Tuesday, the Tuesday before our commission meeting. And compared to other focus teams, that's very strong. The same people are always coming. It's very consistent. It's always members from the Office for the Aging. There's a few community members that always come. Marge Gagnon, that was a former commissioner here, often comes. So it's a very consistent group. We met for the first time in person yesterday at the senior hub at the Office for the Aging, and that felt new. And we had a hard time sticking to the agenda because we had so much to say to each other. The bad news, or not bad news, but the downside that I see to Age Well is that I'm the one holding all the work. We don't have a chair. I don't think we've done a great job of bringing in other community members. So it is kind of this closed group. I'd really like to bring more diversity into the group. It's pretty much seniors that are have the privilege of having been retired and have time to be there. So I think that there's some work to be done to diversify or make the age well focused team more available to more people. So that was kind of my introduction to some of what's going on. So that's kind of the goal number one, to have an engaged and active focused team. We had next steps of identifying other age well participants, and Sue Kay from the director of the Office for the Aging was going to reach out to the Kiwanis group, of which she's a member. That has not led to too many new members though, unfortunately. Any questions on that before I move on to goal 2?
So just wondering, are those meetings recorded as well?
No, none of the focus team meetings have been recorded. We have meeting notes and agendas for every meeting, but not recorded. Yeah.
I think some of the Eat Well meetings are recorded.
Some of the Eat Wells are. The presentations have been, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But not the regular meetings, right?
I think maybe some of the meetings in some of the later meetings, they've been recorded. I can check with Katie.
Thank you for that reminder, Melinda. So Melinda's telling me that some of the Age Well meetings are recorded. So thank you for that reminder. So that's something to consider. We could look into trying to record our meetings and making them, accessible to be viewed later.
Yeah, maybe like on Kingston Public Access.
Yeah. Or there's a new TV, Hudsey TV that's trying to do some public television access. So yeah, there could be some options there. All right, I'm going to move on to goal 2. Seniors have access to the COVID vaccine. So this was written deep in the middle of COVID, and that was a high priority. It still is, but actually some of it has been, we learned at our meeting yesterday that 85% of the senior population in Ulster County has been vaccinated. That felt really high and felt like a real win. So in some ways we felt like some of that work has been completed. Clearly not all of it. There's still people that need to get the vaccine, but it didn't feel like Age Well would be the vehicle to push people to that finish line. We might do communications, we might do outreach, but I don't think Age Well is going to go out and do the vaccinations, for example, but Office for the Aging is facilitating that.
Emily, what's the age for when you say 85% of the senior population? What was that age range? Over what age?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't have that documented, but I think it might be 60. Office for the Aging sends out a newsletter, and I think a lot of their programming is for 60 and over. So I'm guessing that it's 60.
However, there are other organizations that it's younger, 55. AARP, you can become a member at 50. So
The Department of Aging is giving out coupons for the seniors, and they're gonna have a thing at People's Place August 3rd, and on that paper it said age 60.
Thank you. And Lori, you're giving a teaser for my number 6. That's perfect. Okay. So that's our goal number 2. And we're going to still continue to promote vaccine opportunities in social media. Any questions there with goal number 2? I'm going to move on to goal.
I have a question. Of that 15% of the seniors that are not vaccinated, are there any in that cohort that are refusing to be vaccinated, as is happening so many places in the country?
I don't know the details to that. We can reach out to Sue Covenhiver at the Office for the Aging, but I don't know the breakdown of it.
Okay.
I can contribute that the health department is running the pod point of distribution vaccination clinics in the county. And additionally, has secured a homebound vaccination program where we send out public health nurses to the homes of anybody that registers to get vaccinated on vaccinateulster.com. There's a simple form. So please feel free to drive people to that form if you know that they have a medical condition that prevents them from being able to access public transportation or be able to get to a place such as a pharmacy, a grocery store, you know, any pod that's doing vaccinations.
Thank you, Stacy. All right. So goal number, oh yeah, Lori, go ahead.
I was wondering about that 15% as well. For lack of better terms, might some of them be the snowbirds who have been vaccinated in other states? And it's not combining. I know I believe they had a problem with that in Connecticut. And they were asking people that if they were vaccinated in another state to please let them know, because for whatever reason, the vaccination information isn't migrating everywhere. So I just questioned that.
Yeah, that's a good point. The NICES system, New York State Immunization Information System, is where you could talk to your doctor about whether you're up to date on your tetanus shots, and they, in New York State, input into that system NICES. So there's different immunization systems in different states, but I would need to know the data source for this number. There is the CDC vaccine tracker, and if it's from that data source, we can do a little deep dive into understanding, you know, that question better.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the data source was Sue. It was from Sue. So we can ask her where she got it from. Yeah, and dive a little deeper. So I'll make a to-do of reaching back out to Sue and finding out kind of some more information about the 15% of the seniors, and if they know why they haven't been vaccinated, and if it's data related or don't want it. Yeah. So we'll reach out to Sue about that. Any other questions on that one, on goal 2? All right, goal 3 was more seniors have access to the internet. And we were going to continue to support the Cyber Seniors Project and work with the Kingston Equitable Internet Initiative. And our status is that Cyber Seniors is still on pause until September. In case anyone here doesn't know what that is, that was Elaine, who also volunteers at People's Place, was coordinating high school students with seniors at Yasmin and Governor Clinton. And they had a curriculum to teach them how to use computers. And that, of course, has been paused during COVID. And we would like to get that up and going, but the students were not ready to be recruited for that. So that's on hold. Another good update is that SIP, which is Settled and Serving in Place, it's a senior group that meets before COVID. It met every Monday at 9:30 a.m. at the diner at the traffic circle by the Thruway. Gateway Diner, not Deed Stadium, it's the other stadium. The Olympic Diner, thank you. That's how I give directions, by the Thruway. Okay, so Settled and Serving in Place, 5 of their members are participating in the Kingston Equitable Internet Initiative. That is, to try to summarize it quickly, it is kind of a grassroots internet program where equipment and technology will be handed out to kind of make a, how do I say it, a neighborhood like Wi-Fi system. So each technology, it looks like a briefcase, has all the equipment that you need to kind of transmit an internet signal X amount of feet. And the idea is that if these little hot spots are set up through the neighborhood, you could have free Wi-Fi for the neighborhood. I don't know if I'm describing the Kingston Kingston Equitable Internet Initiative the way that they are, but that's kind of my translation, is that it's these hot spots that go around neighborhoods. And so 5 seniors are involved in that. Troy Ellen, do you have your hand up?
They use a portable network kit, is what they call them, the PNKs. And they create a network. Some communities, some neighborhoods might not be able to use it, however, because, like, for example, Pankaki is in a bowl, so there's no straight line. But in Midtown, for example, they've used it at the they've used it around the Kingston Library, for example. And the other benefit is if it's got a straight line to the Radio Kingston Tower, it boosts the signal even more, you know, the big new tower that Radio Kingston has. So it's still in the futzing around stages. That's a technical term, but they do look forward to building it out. And I do know I've been in a couple of trainings because they were bringing this to the African Roots Center. And I do know that there are a lot of seniors in this community who are very interested in it.
Yeah, and I love that the seniors are the ones help setting it up. I think it's really exciting. So that's some great progress on kind of some more internet stuff. And then another great announcement is the Office for the Aging got a grant that paid for 10 Samsung tablets that were specifically, they I think then partnered with the Institute for Family Health to try to provide mental health appointments for them. And it was basically 5 screens with speakers. And so some more health connections were made via these tablets. And also with that grant, they got 5 reminder Rosies, which are alarm clocks with voice reminders. The way they described it was that like a family member or themselves could record a reminder, like take your medication at 3 p.m. and that would go off at 3 p.m. So it's kind of another nice technology that's being distributed. So not a lot of pieces there, but 10 different technology pieces that have come into our community. So that's a nice thing to record.
Can you just say what the grant was again with the Institute? I don't even know how I know about this one.
I don't think the Institute got the grant. I think the Office for the Aging got the grant. And I tried to ask them where the grant was from, and it was unclear. It might have been from the state, and that they were partnering with the Institute, meaning I think just that the providers were doing the mental health appointments via the technology.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. So our next step with that is to share information about the Kingston Equitable Internet Initiative with the community. Those were our next steps there. Questions, or I'll move on to goal 4. Sorry, this feels like it's taken a long time, but there's a lot going on. All right, any questions? No? Okay. Improve access to transportation. This is one of our long-term goals. In actions, we had support sidewalk improvement projects, and in status, we have support the creation of the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. We have the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant that will improve everyday destinations with a small capital project support. And our next steps were Emily is looking for, I'm looking for pedestrian advocates specifically to help with the community advisory board for the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. So there's actually quite a lot of active transportation projects that are happening within the city. It's not specific to seniors, but it's good for everyone. And I think specifically the pedestrian bicycle master plan and now our Healthy Schools grant will do a lot. We'll do some significant physical changes in our community that we can point to that are improvements for seniors and transportation.
Emily, I'm not sure if there's anything that we can or should do about this, but speaking of seniors and biking, I mean, there's the unfortunate news today that a senior on a bicycle was killed at, is it in the new roundabout? I mean, it wasn't clear to me.
I think it was on Washington Avenue somewhere.
I said the intersection of Washington and Schwenk, which I thought was where the new roundabout, anyway, yes, Washington Avenue. I don't know if there's anything we know about that. I just remember like last year when the gentleman whose name I'm forgetting had a fatal bike accident on Greenkill, like that was, you know, a tragedy for the community. And regardless of who the person is, last year it was someone who was deeply embedded in the community. This gentleman yesterday apparently was from Albany, but it just has a depressive effect, I expect, on people's willingness or interest in biking. And of course, you know, we have to think about safety. And I wonder if there's any role we can play. And I don't even know exactly what I'm asking. I believe that biking is good and it's part of living well and it can be done safely. I just worry about the effect of these kinds of terrible accidents, and if there's a role for us in the conversation that's inevitably going to follow from that.
Yeah, I would agree. And we can search out some more partners that are already working on this. One comes to mind, the Mid-Hudson Safety Institute at SUNY Ulster. They get funding from the New York State Department of Health, traffic safety, to work on these issues. And they do have a nice program going on, Expect a Bike, where you've seen probably these nice signs where they're positioned in people's lawns. They look like a political sign maybe, but they're just, you know, a reminder to expect a bike on the road to raise awareness. So maybe partnering with that organization moving forward.
So my sad news about that, and I think it's public knowledge now, is so the Mid-Hudson Safety Institute is led by Rose Quinn. It was her partner who
Yeah.
died on Washington Ave.
Yes.
It's absolutely, it's really close. It's really close to the biking community. Everyone's kind of in shock and mourning today. I just found out today. So it just, there's something about it that feels extremely charged because that was part of Rose's life work. His name was John. Yeah, John Lynch. And part of Rose's like life work was bicycle safety and helmets. And that was her partner. So I think it's fair to say my heart is, because we're recording right now, which feels weird. So I just want to say like my heart goes out to her. And I'm sure many of us here feel the same way. So just want to take a moment to say that. Thank you for bringing that up, Malia. Yeah, I think that that's a great point. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing up the Mid-Hudson Health and Safety Institute. They do a lot of great work. Rose and Pamela before her. So yeah, there's lots of partners we can work with. And that's part of our goal for the pedestrian and bicycle master plan is to try to make these streets safer. I'm sure that that will come up in a lot of the discussions with our public outreach around it. Other thoughts or questions around that? Sorry, I know that's heavy, but yeah. All right. I will move on to goal 5. That is increase awareness of opportunities and resources. I think that maybe that needs a little clarification. So it's increase awareness and opportunities and resources. That feels broad to me. I think what we're trying to say there is resources to health options, to food, to activity, to programming. I'll try to make an edit there. So our action there was to share information on Live Well Kingston social media channels and to post about senior classes held virtually. So James did do a post recently, or maybe it's queued up to do lots of senior classes that are free now because of COVID. There's been this kind of explosion of virtual opportunities for seniors if you have technology. So we posted about that. Any questions there? I'll move on to goal 6. That was the one that Lori brought up earlier, and that is our goal is to increase access to healthy food. And we're going to support the Office for the Aging's farmer market coupons and some great data there. OFA reported that they distributed 800 coupon books last year that were worth about $20 each. I can't calculate that fast. So what is that? $16,000? Yeah. And they're totally free. They do have to, there's like 2 questions that they have to answer saying, attesting that they qualify financially. But other than that, it's rather painless to get it. You have to show up in person, unfortunately. Office for the Aging does go around to different apartment complexes and community centers to distribute it, but seniors do have to kind of come in person to get it. Yeah, Lori, go ahead.
On the flyer for People's Place, it did indicate that somebody can have a POA or an authorizing letter to pick up the coupons for the senior.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. Thank you. Great.
Say the acronym of POA.
Power of attorney. You're welcome.
Emily, I have a little bit of a question about how outreach is done to seniors that are not in the housing complexes or don't attend senior lunch. I feel like, you know, I know that they've done a wonderful job of reaching the seniors that are in the Governor Clipman and the Osmond Towers, but there are a lot of seniors at home that could really use information and aren't even aware that they need to be reaching out to the Ulster County Office of the Aging or have the accessibility to do so. Is there anything in the action plan to expand reach?
No, but let's discuss that. So we could, what do you have ideas for how we could expand reach?
I mean, I don't have an idea offhand, but I do think it's something that should be strategized.
Definitely. So last year during COVID, I did table with Office for the Aging when they did some of this outreach, and that was a nice partnership. I got to know them and know the seniors in those different locations. Unfortunately, some of them were outside of the city, but I went anyway. I think sometimes it's easy to say that we can do more outreach on social media, but as we know, many like Office for the Aging doesn't even have a Facebook account because I don't think that they think that that's a way to reach seniors. Right. So I'm going to be doing one thing that's coming to mind. I'm going to be doing a lot of tabling for the pedestrian and bicycle master plan. I can incorporate some of it into my tabling materials. So that'll be part of what I have out on the table. That's one easy way that it can help to contribute, passing it around in person. And maybe the request out to commissioners and guests is if there's other brainstorming of how we can get that out to seniors, maybe some of the radio programs, or I know they're coming to People's Place, so that's already an option. But so I guess the request to everyone here is if you think of something, to shoot me an email and we'll try to incorporate it in our outreach.
It would seem one play, I think what's important is to start to discuss where seniors have to go. And that's clearly the doctor, physical therapy, those kinds of things, drugstores, stores. And I know it's difficult to do outreach at grocery stores and do outreach at drugstores and things like that. But I just know from having seniors in my life that people are trying their best to stay at home and live at home. So they're missing some of these other opportunities because they're not in that loop, but at the same time, their income's so low that it would be great if they could access it.
I have a question. Can they send me this type of information out to local churches and congregations, temples and different things like that so that they can make some of these announcements? because sometimes seniors like to go to church or temple.
Or perhaps putting it in their bulletins, their weekly
Yeah.
bulletins. I know my church is mostly seniors, so
Yeah, we have a lot of seniors at my church and we love to post any type of information. As a matter of fact, we have the new wellness empowerment center at People's Place, so seniors might like that.
Looks like Susie is jumping off. Thank you, Susie. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry, student issue right now.
No worries. Thank you for joining us. So I can convey some of this back to Office for the Aging. I do think it brings up another point for me, and that is that so each coupon book is only $20. In some ways, that's a lot. In other ways, I feel like that's not nearly enough. It's a drop. Lori says it's a drop in the bucket. I agree. So, you know, in Troy Allen, in the KEFC, we're talking a lot about prioritizing systems change. And some of these things, is it worth pushing? Like, is it worth pushing Office for the Aging to do more $20 coupons? Or is there bigger systemic change that we should work on? Troy Allen, I'm throwing you in the spotlight.
No, that's fine. I think the answer to your question is yes. They should do, because the same way as we're doing in the collaborative of working to burn it all down and rebuild, you know, food sovereignty. I know I'm being recorded, but anyway, but at the same time, we're making sure that folks have food. So I do believe that the $20 coupons, 20 and the seniors are paying for these coupons, or they get $20 worth of coupons absolutely free.
Absolutely free.
Okay, so I think providing the $20 coupons should continue and if possible, be expanded, while looking at ways that system change can be effected to improve the quality of life of folks in the community.
I was just saying, mentioning food prices have gone through the roof lately. So a lot of people sometimes, when they cannot afford what they would normally eat or what they should eat, they substitute with things that might be harmful for them, like more salty latent foods or more fatty latent foods or more just unhealthy things. So I think the senior citizens deserve better than that.
Any other thoughts on that?
I know we have, we have all of these farm to school programs. I'm not as familiar, Pohan, who not everybody knows on, but you know who I'm talking about. She's a production and procurement guru in the Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative. But there are farm to fork programs that perhaps could be looked into that, are not specific to elementary or, middle schools, but are specific to community. And perhaps those could be an opportunity explored with Farm Bridge or with Gateway, the partners that are already in the community. I'm spitballing here, but I think that if they can look at it, it might be useful.
That sounds like a type of a People's Place question. And I know up in the Albany area, on the news a couple of weeks ago, they said that they had something like farm to table programs going for seniors up there, while they also were signing them up for food stamps, because there's an ongoing problem with seniors sometimes feeling like they wouldn't automatically qualify where they might possibly qualify for food stamps, and getting help from food pantries. I know at People's Place, we use a system in the pantry part called Matilda, which is Governor Cuomo's mother's name. And we ask the seniors to just sign up and wait in their cars so that they don't have to stand online, whether it's inclement weather or, you know, be it hot or cold. And we take the shopping cart full of food, grocery products out to the car. So, you know, I think we could probably, I can inquire at People's Place about, are there more senior programs that we can look into?
And yeah, and I think that this is something to bring back to Eat Well and the Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative. And we haven't done a whole lot of talking in the Food Collaborative about specifically seniors as an outreach, but maybe that's something to bring up a little bit more.
Absolutely, I agree. And perhaps have some collaborative meetings, even with Office for the Aging and, you know, People's Place, to have thought partnership around this and find out the best way to support moving it forward.
All right, thank you, everyone. Any other questions about anything in the Age Well Action Plan, or any just general thoughts about the Age Well Focus Team? Now's the time. Oh, yes, Stacey.
I just had a thought on food insecurity and each agency's role in that, and how to understand, you know, if you're dealing with somebody who might be food insecure, and, you know, it could be a sensitive topic, but maybe there would be a way where each of us who have a front door that we interact with seniors, where we could just have a questionnaire where they can fill out, you know, something that says, do you feel that you have enough food? Are you satisfied with the level of nutrition that you're getting? If not, contact, and then, you know, a quick and easy connection to one hub who then connects them to their local, you know, People's Place or whatever is best suited for them.
You know, Stacy, this is Susanna. Stacy, this is, and I'm sorry I'm off video, but I had to move my laptop and it's really sketchy here, but the connection. I think, you know, the whole thing about screening for what we refer to as social determinants of health is such a sensitive thing. And I know that at the Institute, we are kind of, I don't want to use the word experimenting, but we've been piloting it a little bit with our care navigators and case managers, but not everyone gets to them. And it's, you know, it's great. I think certainly in a healthcare setting where I think a lot of seniors do go to their providers. I mean, it's pretty common for seniors to see a medical provider. Would probably be a great place for that to happen, and it can tie in clearly to health. And but I can't speak to all the other primary care practices in and around Kingston, and whether or not people are asking that of a number of questions around social, like, you know, about housing insecurity, food insecurity, safety, you know, safety at home, et cetera. But anyway, it's hard, and it's hard. I mean, we're doing this, you know, we're doing the adverse childhood experiences assessment in Kingston. And that, I mean, just training people and getting it part of workflows and making sure people are comfortable with their scripts and asking this and having somebody to refer to is really hard. But at least having, it'd be great if, actually, Emily, going back to the Heal Well stuff and kind of collaborating between the, Heal Well focus team and Live Well in the city in general. It's another thing to promote among healthcare providers, to encourage that and to have, resources available. So not just like, can you ask this question, but, we have, determined maybe there is some data on food insecurity among seniors that we could share. And give them a list of resources that they can refer their clients to.
And Susanna, if we were to make some materials, do you think that we could do a pilot with Institute for Family Health?
Possibly. Certainly, I would certainly like to talk about it and talk about it with our care management folks. We're hopefully, once we hire somebody to do this other work with pediatrics, we want to do more social determinants of health screening with our families of children, but we haven't talked about it with the senior population. But I think it's a great idea.
Great. Yeah, let's keep discussing that and see if we can make some of those connections. Lori, join us. Come on.
I like that, Troy Ellen. I think I'm a senior now too, officially.
Yeah, I think I officially became a senior yesterday. Thank you. I was just telling Anna, who works in the cafe, I said the chef would probably kill me for making this suggestion because she was trying to get away from it, but we do serve in the Free People's Place Cafe a significant amount of senior citizens, and sometimes they say that their partner, their spouse, their neighbor, their friend can't pick up a lunch or a breakfast, and sometimes it's sincere and sometimes it's not. And we were trying to discourage it. But for seniors, if there's some way that it can be like documented that there is a need. Right, because we get young people, oh, well, I need a bag. Well, when we were handing the bags out at the door, and you can still take a bag out, but now you can eat in the cafe. And an example is one young lady was picking up for her mother, and come to find out her mother's in a nursing home. And she just continued to pick it up. So if there was some way that we could verify or document that a senior is in need of one of the free meals from one of the local food pantries or local food cafes, maybe that might be an idea to help seniors conquer food insecurities.
Yeah, this just resonates so much with me because, like you said, food and nutrition is going to fuel the disease process, and so we're at the core of, reducing cardiac arrests, and which are super high in cardiac issues in our county already, and obesity problems. So I feel, really connected to this topic. And I like the idea from Susanna as like the physicians being a really natural place and comfortable, place for that question to be addressed. But I know they already have a lot on their plates with fitting in so many important topics in one visit. And the other, issue with people skipping wellness visits to begin with. So sorry.
Troy Ellen, we see your hand. Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment to something that Lori was saying. One of the things that I truly appreciate about the Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative is when people call the hotline and ask for groceries or meals, they don't have to prove need. Are there probably some people who may be gaming the system, who could go out and shop and buy their own food? Probably, but I can't imagine that the majority of the people are putting themselves sort of in this humiliating position without the fact that they really need the food. So for example, Lori, on your comment, and I don't know the specifics, but the mother's in the nursing home, but the daughter continued taking the food. Perhaps the daughter is suffering from food insecurity, or the daughter's family, or whatever. I think, though, the real point I want to make, that was my editorial comment, is having people be able to pick up for other people is something that we are doing. We're doing it. We've had it with Kingston City School District, where parents, someone can go pick up meals and they can pick up for their neighbors as well. There's a form that gets filled out, and once that form is filled out, they can continue to pick up for them. And it's filled out by the neighbor who's getting their food picked up. And I'm wondering if the same thing could be done. I mean, I know it's being done at People's Place around Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative as well. So is that still ongoing, or did that stop after the pandemic, after the pause was lifted?
I don't work in that part of the People's Place, but I believe they are still, like, I know we were delivering to Yasmin Towers and some senior buildings. On the specific days that I work, right now, we're having the No Kid Goes Hungry program. And I know on, like yesterday, the farm stand day, they bag up a certain amount of the products that come in, where people do come and pick it up themselves, and they put it away and then it's delivered. I'm not sure where, but I love that idea that you say the cooperative is using, where somebody has to fill out a form, their neighbor or whoever, the significant other, would fill out a form and submit it maybe to People's Place for the cafe to get an already prepared meal. I mean, that might eliminate the gaming, but yes, I mean, you can never completely eliminate it, but I just want to see more people be fed properly, because food is medicine. And, not eating properly can cause major disease. So eating properly, on the other hand, can eliminate major diseases and mental health as well.
This is always great conversation. This is my time check. So it's 5:11. I want to make sure that we have a little bit of time for the marketing report, and James is still with us. Great. I hope that's not too abrupt of an end to that conversation. I think next month is a report from Eat Well, and so we can dive a little bit more into this topic. So if that's all right with everyone, thumbs up from Troy Ellen. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to the marketing report. People on Zoom, if you go to the agenda again, you can click on the link to see it. People here, I was not able to print this one out, unfortunately. James, do you think you might be able to share your screen? It's going to be small for us, isn't it? But let's see if that works.
Yeah.
Or do you want to just talk through it? Yeah.
Well, I was going to talk through it quick. Yeah, just like sort of run through the whole document because it is kind of long. But do I need like special like permission to share my screen?
Probably. Hold on. Let me do that.
Yeah. I
And
think you need
maybe
to,
while we're doing that technology, everybody could just stand up and stretch because we are supposed to incorporate and role model the healthy meeting behaviors. So let's do that for a
I
quick
love it.
second.
I love it. Thank you, Stacy.
That's what I've been doing when I go off camera.
Mm.
People at home, this is what you're missing, us moving around.
I'm doing it here too.
Okay, I think I got it. 1 second.
So come on back, everybody. And, oh, thank you, James. That looks great. So we can see
Okay,
it
so you're seeing it.
large on the screen here. That looks really great.
Okay, awesome. And you can see me like scrolling around.
I can. One thing on the left-hand side is the bulleted list. If you click the arrow in, we'll be able to see more of it. Do you know what I mean by that?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Great.
Is that better?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I can
Thank
actually,
you.
let me, if I like zoom out too, you might be able to see a little bit better.
Actually,
Maybe.
that zoom in is really great. I would leave it like that.
Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready, James, go right ahead.
Sure. All right, so this is the this marketing report I've been working on for the past month or so. I update it every month at the end of each month, and I just sort of gather analytical data for activity on the Live Well Kingston website and also the Facebook and Instagram page for Live Well Kingston. So I'm just going to jump right into it and sort of just run through it quick and explain to you what you're looking at and sort of just, you know, mention anything that's like worth noting. So for the month of May, I was actually only able to gather information for the website because the way that Facebook and Instagram Insights works is you can only go back like 30 days. And by the time I started working on this, it was already like the end of June. So I wasn't able to really get any information other than the total amount of page likes that the Facebook page has, which was 1,256. So there's just sort of some website stuff here that I'll just run through quick. There's a little dashboard that I took a screenshot of. So it has a couple useful information here. 338 total users and 330 of them were new users. So if you look, there's this little pie chart here. That's about 90% of the users on the website were new. Only 10% of them were returning users. So that means that basically people are only using the website if they're, you know, if they were sent a blog post maybe, or if they're just sort of like looking for a piece of information somewhere. They're not really using the website for much else. There's a couple of graphs in here that I made. This is the daily users. It shows you like how many users there were for each day of the month. On average, it was like 10 or 15 or so. This graph down here also shows the pages with the most views. So the most viewed page on the website was the trail guide for the Kingston Rail Trail. And also the homepage. Those are the top two most viewed pages, which sort of makes sense because there's a lot of hikers in the Kingston area. A lot of people were probably looking for information from that blog post. And also the homepage also has a lot of useful information like, you know, who Live Well Kingston is, what we do, and, you know, it has everybody's like all the members. You can click on them and like read their bio and stuff like that. So it makes sense that those two are the top viewed pages. And then there's also a couple other graphs here. These are the amount of time spent on those pages. Not exactly sure how accurate this information is that Google Analytics gave me because, you know, you can see here that a couple of these pages say 0 minutes and 0 seconds. So I don't know how relevant this information is, but I figured I would include it just in case. So it's here. This graph also has the total daily page views for each day of that month. It was around 15-ish or so. And that's about it. So it's a lot of
James,
information.
before you go on from that page, I'm just curious. Yeah, the total daily page views. I mean, it goes up and down quite a bit. I wonder if those drastic changes correlate at all with weekends versus weekdays, or I mean, I can't really tell, but
yeah, I know it's hard to tell, but it could. I don't know if there was any of that I could pull up. Like it didn't have any like weekends versus weekdays sort of like, activity graphs, but that is a possibility.
yeah.
Also, to build on Malia's question is, is there I have 2 points. The first one is there a correlation between something, is there a way to connect the dots of, an email went out or a post was made or something that drove traffic in that particular time frame? That's my first question. I'm not sure. I mean, I've done sort of those web correlations before, but you have to be very intentional up front that you know what's going out there, and then you look to see if there's a spike in activity. So I'm not sure we can do it after the fact. The other thing is the 0 page views. That probably is an accurate, the bar chart that you had that was above this.
For the time, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably is accurate because nobody went to the page, went to that specific page.
No, but this is this list here is the same list as these pages over here, which is the pages with the most views.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Connected.
Yeah, it is a little, it doesn't like look like it, but it is a little connected. So I don't really know why it showed up like this. That's just what the data, that I was given. So
okay,
I'm not really sure. No problem. And yeah, like this whole report here, there's like, you could go really in depth with all of this. This is sort of just an overview. So you could probably correlate a lot of information from just this. This is just like, just the overview of some of it. And that was all I have for the website information. So I'm actually going to skip ahead and talk about the website information for June, just since we're still on that topic, just so you can compare it a little bit. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here. So this is the same dashboard, but for the month of June. It's pretty similar. You have, a similar ratio of new users and returning users. 320, 305 of them were new. It's roughly, the same amount of time. The graphs also look pretty similar. It was around 10 or 15 users per day. One thing I did want to point out though was over here, the trail guide and the homepage were still the top 2 most viewed pages, but it also showed that the Grow Well page was gaining some activity. So it's just important to know that Grow Well is, getting some more interest. This is, another similar graph. Pretty similar stuff.
James, what is the bounce rate? What does that mean?
I don't actually know. Were you talking about this right here?
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably a web term that I'm just not familiar with, but it was on the dashboard.
Okay.
Like when you first log in, so I figured I'd keep it in there. Does anybody else know what that might be?
My understanding of the bounce rate has something to do with if we are on a page and then you leave it quickly. I'm not exactly sure, but it has something to, I think bounce has to do with leaving a page. But
Okay.
I don't know how it's different than time spent on a page, but somehow it's related. I'm not exactly sure.
A quick
Okay,
web search
interesting.
says the bounce rate is single page sessions divided by all sessions, or the percentage of all sessions on your site in which users viewed only a single page and triggered only a single request to the analytics server.
Sorry, I asked.
Thank you, Stacy.
All right. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. These graphs are all pretty similar. So the website activity from May to June hasn't really changed much. Other than, I guess, Grow Well did seem to be getting more attention in terms of page views. But other than that, that was pretty much it for the website activity. So I know we're almost at the end of the meeting, so I'm just going to run through the social media stuff real quick. if I can go back to the top here. So for the month of June, I was able to get information from Facebook and Instagram. We don't actually use the Twitter account for Live Well Kingston, so I sort of just wrote down how many followers that account had at the end of the month, which was 163. And then for Facebook, we had the total page likes of 1,264, which was a few more than the month prior. This is another general dashboard that I took a screenshot of and included here. I wanted to point out that it showed a large increase in both post reach and post engagement. I think a big factor in that is because there weren't any posts to Live Well Kingston during the month of May, at least on Facebook. But regardless, there is a big increase in post reach and engagement, which is like likes and comments and things like that. And then we have the top 5 posts here. This one about the Kingston Green Line did really well. It reached 665 people actually. So I took a screenshot of, you know, all the information that it gave me, like how many likes, different reactions, comments, how many times people clicked on the post. So this one did really well. And then I have these with the other top 5 posts. This one was also about the Kingston Green Line. I know it might be kind of hard to see because it's all in one page, but this was about Barman Park's ribbon cutting. This was just a general post about mindfulness meditation that I did. And this was promoting Ulster County Office for the Aging was hosting Tai Chi classes. So these all did really well for the month of June. And that's it for Facebook. Did anybody have anything, any comments or questions before I talk about Instagram?
I just wanted to, I'm sorry, I was addressing a Kingston Emergency Food Collaborative issue, but I also wanted to talk about bounce rates. Bounce rates really, it's that if in Google Analytics, it really is about, they only went to one page. They didn't go any deeper. Wherever the landing page is where they landed, they didn't go to any other thing. We have a very high bounce rate. It was over 80 some odd %, I think, which means that if we want to increase the stickiness that people will go other pages on Live Well Kingston, that would be a project that we would have to address and really figure out how to get people to go to more than one place on the website.
Right, so just to clarify, the higher the bounce rate, that means the less they're going to other pages, right? They're just sticking on whatever they landed on.
Yeah, if they're landing on the home page, if they're landing on the, whatever page that they've gone to, but that's the only page. Now, having said that, there are instances where having people land on one page is not necessarily a bad thing, because not everybody, they might be interested in pedestrian walkways and they're really not interested in growing food or something like that. So there's those kinds of considerations. I think we should just stick a pin in it for future consideration.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Thank you for that. I agree. Because I think it is important for people to, they don't have to go through the entire website, but it would be good if people were more, I guess, active with it and just explored the website a little bit and was able to learn a little bit more about, what Live Well Kingston does and stuff like that. So I'll just talk about Instagram real quick. It looks a little different because the screenshots I took, for whatever reason, you can't do Instagram Insights on a web browser. So I had to take screenshots on my phone from the Instagram app. But it still had a bunch of useful information. We had 1,314 followers compared to May. It shows, the top cities. Kingston obviously was the top city that people are engaging with Live Well Kingston from. Most of our followers and engagements were people who are, middle-aged. It has a breakdown of age range. It also has a breakdown of gender. What else? It shows the increase in profile visits and increase in website taps, which would be the link that we have in our Instagram bio is to our link tree, which is where we put a bunch of links for information that we're sharing. So whether that's, the link to the Kingston Green Line website or if it's like a link to register for a class or something like that, we would always put them in the link tree. So we were sharing a lot more information. So I think that's why we had an increase in website taps. And it also shows an increase in impressions compared to May, which is, you know, how many profiles that our posts and our account has reached, and, you know, engagement with Live Well Kingston. I also have here a screenshot of the top posts ranked by the amount of profiles they reached, and then to the right, top posts in terms of how many likes they got. So this was the top post for the month of June. It was, again, the same post from Facebook about the Kingston Green Line, got almost 60 likes. These were some other top posts. Again, most of these were from Facebook. Facebook and Instagram, we kind of post the same things too. So you can see here, top posts. This was about Kingston Point Park. This is the same ribbon cutting post, and this was about Grow Well and their little garden community day. And that's about it. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to mention. I know we're almost out of time. Does anybody have any other comments or questions?
Well, my biggest takeaway from this information is that compared the numbers in May to June, the big difference that happened was James started doing some work for us. And I feel like the return is all these numbers jumping up. So it, you know, I think it's kind of safe to say that, thank you, Malia, thanks for joining us, that having someone work on this is an almost immediate payoff on more likes, more outreach, and it just takes work to do it, takes capacity. Unless there's any other questions, I'll say thank you so much, James. That was a great presentation. And any other last, we got thumbs up from in person here.
Yeah, this is good. I'm glad that we're seeing this like upward trend. So at the end of this month, we'll be able to compare like June, July, and May and see if that trend stayed, if it increased or not.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
All right, James, if you don't mind unsharing, I think I'll be able to see everyone.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, James.
Yeah, I gave you claps with my.
I didn't see that, but thank you for the claps.
All right, so thank you for that. That was the marketing report. The next thing on the agenda was administrative matters, and we sort of covered that in the beginning of the meeting. That was about the commissions in person. Yeah, go on, Troy.
Sorry, one of the things I was thinking of, because I actually found the language for the OML, which is open meetings laws, authorizes public bodies to use video conferencing for conducting meetings, provided that the public body provides advance notice and allows the public to attend at any of the meeting locations. So I'm sure that's what the mayor was focusing on, but since the meeting location also is not a closed video conference, but a Zoom that could be shared publicly, I'm suggesting that as an avenue for exploration.
Thank you for that. So I'll take what you've researched and I'll bring that to the Corporation Council because it sounds like a really great argument. Thank you, Doug. Thanks for coming.
Okay, I have to leave all. See
Yeah,
ya.
I have to go too. Is that going to mess things up since I'm the host? No, the address it's okay.
No, I think that it's Melinda left, so I think that we don't have a quorum anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Take care, everyone. Have a good
Thanks.
rest of the month.
But wait, we have to close the meeting.
We're going to have to close it without a quorum.
Oh, I can stay. If you're going to close it now, I'll stay on for one more minute.
Sure. Why don't we officially adjourn it? But I don't think we have a quorum anyway. We only have 4 because Melinda left.
Oh, right.
But so let's go through the motions. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Oh, thank you, Anna. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So we are officially adjourned. Troy Ellen, did you want to finish your thought there? Did you get to finish it?
I was just gonna ask, I'm gonna copy and paste into an email, so you have the language that I was using.
Thank you. That would be really helpful. I appreciate that. All right. Well, our meeting is officially already adjourned, but it was nice to see those of you in person. It was great to see those of you on Zoom. Thank you, Heidi, for trying to call in while you're driving. Thank you, Troy Ellen. Thank you, James, our last holdouts. All right. Until next month, I'll see you on email.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Thank you. I appreciate
guys.
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.